777
Well, it's the kind of thing I'm faced with most days, to remind me of the prophecy that the Lord gave me about 9/11, and the fact that I prophesied that it will run up to the fact that Jesus will come back. And if the police forces of the world and all the people who try to keep law and order, in the face of peaceful protests mostly happening against GMOs, against gay marriage, against abortion, and all we're doing is speaking our opinion. If it's a democracy, then that's allowed, but clearly the United States and UK and other parts of the world is no longer a democracy. It's run by tyrannical governments, or at least governments who have been compromised in some way, and to let the oligarchs in the market, whichever market they're in, so they can dominate that market. That's what it's all about. That's what Bilderberg is all about. But it's just a word to these people. You don't need to worry about peaceful protests and about Christians standing up and speaking their mind. You don't need to worry about that. What you need to worry about is Jesus Christ. You need to worry about what Jesus Christ is going to do to you when he returns to this earth. That's what you need to worry about. Many of you won't be around by that time. Many of you have already sold your souls to Satan and taken the mark of the beast. Therefore, it's impossible for you to actually be redeemed. And every time you hear the name Yeshua or Jesus Christ or Yahweh, you probably go insane. But you shouldn't be worrying about peaceful protesters, Christians and so on, speaking up very, very, as I said, peacefully, without any violence or without anything like that. And yet the police forces are ready, violently to actually enforce these oligarchs' laws. As we have seen, there has been riots in North England quite a lot the past few years, because police forces have actually stirred the people up. And the last one I saw down in Manchester, one of the policemen actually pushed this old guy down to the ground, where the old guy hit his head and died. And I don't think there's any further charges against that police officer, as far as I understand. That's the tyrannical world we're starting to see now. But these people shouldn't be afraid of the peaceful protests of the Word of God, just speaking the Word of God, because what is it? If God doesn't exist, then what have you to be afraid of? If speaking the Word of God is so insignificant and stupid and foolish, then why all the helicopters overhead? Why all the police force out in the streets with their riot gear on and their big shields, just for people peacefully speaking the Word of God, peacefully saying no, this is not the will of God, to put GMOs into food, to put aborted baby fetus cells into Pepsi. This is not the will of God to do this. And even communist Russia have actually recognised many of these things as evil. And they're not even Christian, they're not even a Christian nation, and yet they have a soul enough to discern what is good and what is evil. What does that tell you about the state of our nations today? So again, these people should not be afraid of the peaceful protesters. They should be afraid of Jesus Christ when he comes back, because the only thing that people cannot escape, you can escape people's judgment. Sometimes you can run and hide and do all that kind of stuff, but no one can escape the wrath of God. Nobody can escape that. And when the wrath of God is poured out, no one can escape that. It doesn't matter how deep your hole is in the earth. It doesn't matter where your underwater base is or your base on the moon. When God's wrath is poured out, it's final. No one can stand before God when he's angry. And that's it. That's the truth. Just to say thanks for Alex Jones coming over to the United Kingdom. Whether he's right or wrong in what he says, it's about time that some butts is kicked over here in the UK. It's about time that some light was shed into some dark areas in our society. And whether he's right or wrong that there's a Bilderberg meeting, well, that's what he was here to actually talk about. That's what he was here to shed light on. and he certainly was successful in doing that. I don't think without Alex Jones coming over to the United Kingdom there would have been such an interest in that meeting in particular this year. So just a short video to, I would salute you, but I'm holding the camera. Where are we? There we go. I'm saluting InfoWars and Present Planet and Alex Jones, and been criticised about leaving out the Jesuits quite a lot. They're very, very heavily involved in politics as well, obviously from the spiritual side, and then you've got obviously the financial side that most people know. The City of London is basically the head of the financial district in the world, pretty much just now. But the spiritual head is definitely still the Vatican. Until, of course, the New World Order, the actual one world government actually forms, probably in Israel. But we'll see how things play out. But the 10 Kings thing, this has been planned as well. Very coordinated. Probably the Bilderbergs heavily involved in coordinating the 10 areas, which is a sort of Club of Rome. Not a theory or conspiracy theory. It has actually been in print. It has actually been quite thoroughly researched that the world is going to be split up into 10 areas that a lot of people call the Atlantean conspiracy. And this is the very thing that Atlantis itself was actually ruled by a 10 king empire. So it's basically getting back whatever was here in the old worlds. That's what the fallen angels and Satan is trying to get back to, and that's the rulership. That's the power structure that they set up on the earth. Obviously, after the fall of man, and there was very high technology, before and around Noah's day, and the population of the world would have probably been even more than it is today around the flood time, which a lot of people would dispute that. But if you actually look at it, being fruitful and multiplying within about a 2,000 year period from the creation of man to the flood of Noah, there could have easily been between at least around 10 billion people on the globe with very high technology during that time, with a space exploration program going to the planets, going to the moon, and as we've seen, the Mona Lisa and so on, things being uncovered from the actual moon itself. Just give a wave to the helicopter that just joined us, and a thumbs up. So anyhow, just a salute to InfoWars for coming over and at least waking people up. I'm not such a huge fan of the pseudo son of God. I forget his name. What is it? David Icke. I'm not such a fan of him, but he's got his own little sort of rant going, whatever that was, about being one and being together. Certainly, it's one planet, we're one people, and we should stand against any oppressive order. But the real message is to be born again, to accept Jesus Christ into our lives, because we're not complete without Him. There's a corrupt side to all of us, but when we're born again and we receive the incorruptible, then it means that that we've been fully sort of sanctified by Jesus Christ, and we only now wait for a glorification, whether that comes through having to be martyred or raptured. The point is that we should be going out there according to the Word of God and speaking to people about Jesus Christ, or preaching, or whatever it may be. As long as there's time left, there's a free world left to do that. That's exactly what we should be doing, and that's obviously the focus now on what my channel is, and definitely encourage people to just start to pray. And if you're having trouble praying or asking God if He exists or something like that, it will come to you. Just be patient. Try to stay away from sin. Try to sort of stay away from sin, or if it's the internet that's making you sin, or just watching TV, just try to stay away from that for a few days, and just try to go and pray, and you will hear God's voice, and will become more easily to speak to God after that. So all of us are being tested and tempted in different ways, and but again, I hope that I'm here to encourage everybody, and thank you for listening.